why, what if. You're not giving like, do this, no. So we need you to come with open-ended questions. Your open-ended questions makes your mentee think, deep, bring answers, and at the end of the day, both of you can accept or not accept, depending on what you think will be good for the situation. So the essential skill of questioning is clarifying. Now this is the words. This helps others determine where they are having trouble and what they can do about it. You need to clarify. Very important. To have this relationship smoothly, this mentor-mentee relationship is for purpose, is for clarity, and is for commitment. We need you to have a purpose. You, as a mentor, must have a purpose. And what is the purpose? To build excellence amongst the teachers. Teaching the same course as you. We don't want you to be the only hero. You would not have gained anything if at the end of the day you couldn't impact another person to be actually better than you. So, purpose, clarity, commitment. And in having this questioning, you have to have that at the back of your mind. That yes, I'm having a relationship with these mentees. Why? For purpose, clarity, and commitment. Meaning that I'm committed to them. Purpose, I want to impact on them. Clarity, I want us to understand what really is the issue so that we can break that ice and move forward. And of course, the end game being great students. Very important. So clarifying, you also want them to think about the situation they just tried to explain and to generate their own ideas. So they come to you, I have this problem. They're like, oh, what is really the issue? They tell you, oh, I think this is the problem. This student, he doesn't seem to get this particular formula, or he doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying. You're like, oh, why would you think he doesn't do that? He can tell you, well, I think it's because maybe the home front is not so stable. And you're like, is there anything we can do about it? Now you're making him think. You're not the one giving the answers. So open-ended questions, very important for clarification purposes. Then another skill in questioning is developing. You should help the other person consider and identify what is most important to them. What do you want to get out of it? Okay, why are you worried that student does not understand? Because do you know why? You might not be able to impact appropriately. Ask open-ended questions, which is what I've been saying all along, that lead to specific answers. Then suggesting, if the person is having difficulty coming up with an answer, offer suggestions and then ask the person for feedback, which is what I mean by, okay, don't you think we should do it this way? Or do you think that this would work? Indirectly, you're like my sister tells me, she's like, I'm making you think that you're the one who had the idea, not me. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you. So there's a way you put it that makes the person think that, oh yeah, I actually thought about this. And when you're like, oh see, you actually got it. That's what we should do. And he ends up thinking, oh, I got this. Meanwhile, he didn't really get it. So your questions can push and direct your mentees to even solve the problems that they thought were even problems at the end of the day. Now, using question and listening to define the right outcome is the next thing. Poor questioning is directly related to poor listening. No. Poor questioning is directly related to poor listening. If you're a good listener, you'll be able to use the questions you ask to define your ultimate goal. It's the same thing I've been saying. Your questions will end up giving you the answers you need. You must know how to ask them correctly. And the only way you can ask it correctly is by listening first. If you don't listen well, you won't know the right questions to ask. Good questions should identify priorities your mentee should address. This is the whys, because the whys will make you think, okay, what do I want to get out of this? Which one is more important to me? Uncover risk and consequences of future action. Be careful with the solutions you prefer so that they don't end up even causing a negative reaction to your students or to your fellow teachers, as the case may be. Build the mentoring relationship. You're not supposed to tear each other down or play each other down. Nobody's superior to the next person. All of you are equals. We're just here to help each other. That is what the relationship is about. Create enthusiasm. Make them excited. I like when she spoke, and you can see the passion. That's what we need to transcend to your teachers, your mentees. Let them get excited again about why they chose teaching in the first place. We know it can be difficult considering the environment, but like I said, you're the hope bearers. If we lose you, we've lost it. So we cannot lose it. None of us can. That's why Inoyo Toro Foundation is here. Highlight your mentee's viewpoints. You must make him feel like indeed he knows what he's saying, even if you don't think he does. By doing that, you're boosting his self-ego, and you're not tearing him down. So it's really important. Then aid forging an agreement on what is to be done. When you've asked all the questions, you have come up with a solution, that should be your way forward. Now, using questions and listening to define the right outcome. If you ask good questions and you listen, you see at the end of all of this, listening and questioning is really what will make it and will help you get solutions and also help that teacher be as good or better than yourselves. Listening, asking the right questions. You're supposed to encourage your mentee to talk, and you can adopt a joint problem-solving approach. Like I said, ask the question. Why do you think you're having issues with lexis and structure? And then at that point, the mentee or your teacher, your fellow mentee is supposed to be like, I probably think it's because I don't get this. Then you can be like, do you think it's because you don't get that? Or do you think it's because of something else? Like I said, your questions will bring out what the deep issue is, and you'll be able to address it. So you talk, you ask the question, he thinks, you listen, very important. Then you recognize what it is he's trying to say and probe. Ask another question. Then he listens, and both of you can come up with an answer or a plan to solve whatever it is you have as an issue. Now, I was talking about the hierarchy of needs. We have this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This theory says that motivation is the result of a person's attempt to fulfilling 5 basic needs. And these 5 basic needs is your physiological needs, your safety needs, belonging needs, self-esteem needs, realization needs. It can go either way. For some people, physiological needs comes first. For some people, it might be self-realization needs. Now, what do we mean by physiological needs? Your physiological needs are your basic needs. Food, water, that you can breathe, that you can eat, shelter, you have a roof over your head. Clothing, yes. So people's needs are different. You must understand the person's need before you can impact the person. Very important. And this happens in every situation, including your students you teach in class. If you don't understand a child, you cannot impact that child, no matter how hard you try. So you must understand your mentees. And how would you do that? We would show you some series of assessments you should give that will give you an idea of what that person is all about, and that will guide you. So your safety needs, this has to do with the safe working environment. It has to do with you having safety of family. Your family is safe. Your child is not involved in something out there that is a bit dangerous, and that way can distract you. Your morals are put together. Then under belonging needs, we have your social needs. You need to have a sense of belonging. Everybody needs to have a sense of belonging. And that is why we call it a mentor-mentee relationship. You must make your mentees know that you are committed to them. By that commitment, it shows that sense of belonging. Yeah. And if you don't do that, if for any of the mentees that is priority for them, you might lose him. Because as far as it's concerned, you're not speaking to the right issue at hand. He's not feeling that you care about what he even says. Sometimes people say things and you brush them off. By doing that, can just feel, and for me, like I said, we're all different, we read things differently. So I can just sit and I'm like, it doesn't value what I say now, so why does he think I actually need to listen to anything he says? I don't feel like I belong. You're not carrying me along. You're not making me feel important. So for some people, that is their own issue. Then self-esteem needs. This has to do with self-respect, confidence, your level, your status. You need to have an understanding of all of these things. Then we have the self-realization needs. This has to do with intellectual needs. There's some people, especially the men are all about self-realization. I mean, no offense to women, we too are. But sometimes in the course of life, we have a lot of distractions. So at every point, we have different, needs. But yes, we have these intellectual needs. I mean, fulfilling potential, achieving targets, problem solving. You should be able to solve problems. So if you understand this Maslow's needs, you will be able to speak to your mentees and at the end of the day, impact on them. Mentors need to understand their mentees' needs in order to know how best to motivate them. Now, what makes a motivated mentee? You can see the happy face there. 1, acknowledge your mentee's efforts. Very important. Oh, you did this. Oh, that was really smart. Do you know I didn't think of it? Even though you thought of it. Kind words. They go a long way. You must demonstrate value for the relationship by giving your time. This is commitment. Very important. Remember, the essence of this is purpose, clarity, and commitment. So that shows commitment. You must integrate your mentee into your professional work. It's for growth. If you're mentoring your mentee, you want him to grow. So you must incorporate him. Make him aware of, okay, we've distributed some TA, yes. Now those are things you can take to your colleague and like, hey, see this, I think we should do it. Then both of you can come up with a strategy on how to get that done. You're incorporating him. You don't want the good for yourself alone, but you also want the good for him. That will make him smile to know that, oh, someone is actually looking out for him. And guess what? It will motivate them. Many times in life, we would have given up on something, but because we had somebody who was pushing us, we were able to forge ahead and surpass those barriers. So you should be able to do that for your mentees. Track progress of your mentee towards set goals. At every mentoring session you have with your mentee, as you are done, you must have set goals. So that when next you meet, you would address whether you have been able to tackle whatever issue that was. Remember, we will do impromptu visits. And when we do and we see that these patterns are not there, the most important thing is this mentoring. If you like, pass the exam. If your mentoring was not good when we came, you don't stand a chance. Impact is what we want. We're not looking for who to dash money to. No. It's easy to read for an example. We want you to change the mindsets of your fellow teachers for excellence. Now you have to be concerned about your mentee's welfare. This comes under one of those needs. Show empathy. Very important. I'm not saying provide the funds, but let it be that you're like, oh, yeah, what would you do? Okay. If I find any solution, I'll let you know. You don't have to. If you don't have, you don't have to. Do you understand? If you have and you feel like you should, it's okay. It's part of you being empathic and humane. So it's a good thing. Then you have to reward your mentee for achieving set goals. Those rewards can come in. You will determine what rewards. You know how you also motivate your students to do stuff? So you set your reward. It doesn't have to be financial. No, it doesn't. We're not even telling you to make it financial. No. So set your rewards. It's just to help him, to motivate him, to push him to excel. Next slide. What makes a motivated mentee?